Seraph was relieved by the freshness in the air, which was a hydrating welcome to her entire being. The Ashlands had been a totally barren and arid realm, devoid of life in the absence of water. Excited and hopeful, flames suddenly danced along her skin as she felt renewed and refreshed, a new warmth spreading in her chest. But it wasn't until she'd walked through the shimmering portal that she truly understood the depths of her power. The portal had appeared without warning in the midst of the barren land she had been traversing, drawn by an inexplicable urge to exit the realm. Relieved and ready to leave, she'd stepped through, finding herself in a land unlike any she had ever seen. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers and the sweet tang of ripe fruits. Towering trees, their leaves a kaleidoscope of colors, surrounded her, and in the distance, she could hear the soothing sound of cascading waterfalls. Seraph marveled at the abundance around her. Plump berries hung from vines, and clusters of fruit weighed down the branches overhead. She picked a few and tasted them, the sweet juice bursting in her mouth. As she wandered, she spotted deer-like creatures grazing peacefully, their coats shimmering in the dappled sunlight. It was a paradise, untouched and teeming with life. As evening approached, she sought shelter for the night and soon found a large cave at the base of a hill. Its entrance framed by ivy and wildflowers. It seemed a perfect refuge, and she set to work, making it as cozy as she could. She gathered some soft moss for a makeshift bed and settled down, feeling the warmth of her inner fire, keeping the chill at bay. The gentle hum of the forest lulled her toward sleep. But as the shadows deepened and the night grew still, Seraph heard noises from deeper within the cave. A faint rustling, followed by a soft, serpentine hiss. Her eyes snapped open, the flames on her skin flickering to life. Cautiously, she rose and ventured further into the darkness, drawn by curiosity and a sense of foreboding. Deeper into the cave, the air grew cooler, and the noises became more distinct, soft whispers, the slither of scales against stone. Seraph's heart pounded in her chest. She turned a corner and came upon a vast underground chamber illuminated by bioluminescent fungi. The sight that met her eyes was both wondrous and terrifying. Creatures unlike any she had ever seen moved about the chamber. They were half human, half snake, with long, sinuous bodies covered in scales. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and their movements were both graceful and menacing. Seraph's breath caught in her throat. She had stumbled into the lair of the Naga, the mythical snake people. Panic surged through her, and she turned to flee the way she had come. But it was too late. The Naga had caught her scent and she had lost record of her entrance route. Hisses filled the air as they moved toward her, their eyes narrowing with predatory intent. Seraph felt the flames within her flare to life. She was no stranger to battle, but she had never faced creatures like these. The first Naga lunged at her. Its fangs bared. Seraph sidestepped, her hand blazing with fire as she struck out. The flames seared the creature's flesh, and it recoiled with a shriek. But more were coming, their numbers overwhelming. Seraph fought with all her might, her flames a blur of light and heat in the dark chamber. One by one, the Naga fell, but Seraph knew she couldn't hold them off forever. She needed to find a way out. As she fought her way toward the cave's entrance, she stumbled upon a small, iron cage hidden in the shadows. Inside was a tiny, delicate figure with wings, an imprisoned fairy. The fairy's eyes were wide with fear and desperation. "Help me," the fairy whispered, her voice trembling. "Set me free, and I will help you escape." Seraph didn't hesitate. She blasted the cage with her flames, melting the iron bars. The fairy fluttered out, her wings shimmering in the dim light. "Thank you," she breathed. "I am Leora. Follow me, and I will show you the way." Leora led Seraph through a series of narrow tunnels. The Naga hot on their trail. The fairy moved with surprising speed, her wings a blur as she darted through the darkness. Seraph kept her flames burning bright, lighting their way and warding off the pursuing Naga. As they ran, Leora spoke quickly, her voice urgent. "The Naga have guarded this land for centuries. They are fierce and relentless. But there is a way out, a portal, much like the one you came through. It lies deep within the forest, hidden and guarded. But we can reach it together." Seraph nodded, determination hardening her resolve. Let's go. They emerged from the cave, the cool night air a welcome relief. The forest was eerily quiet, the usual sounds of nocturnal life absent. The Naga were close, their hisses echoing in the darkness. Leora flew ahead, guiding Seraph through the dense underbrush. As they ran, Leora explained more about the land they were in. This forest is cursed, she said. It was once a paradise, but the Naga brought a dark magic with them. They enslaved the creatures of the forest, including my people. Many fairies have been captured and used for their own purposes. Why did they capture you? Seraph asked, ducking under a low-hanging branch. They use us for our magic, Leora replied bitterly. Fairy dust is powerful, and they harness it to strengthen their own spells. But we are resilient. With your help, we can turn the tide. Seraph's flames flickered with renewed vigor. We'll free your people, she promised. But first, we need to get out of here. Leora led her to a hidden glade, where an ancient, moss-covered stone stood. Carved into its surface were runes that glowed faintly in the moonlight. This is the portal, Leora said. But it requires a great deal of magic to activate. Seraph stepped forward, feeling the energy thrumming through the stone. She placed her hands on the runes, her flames flaring brighter. What do I need to do? Focus your energy, Leora instructed. Channel your power into the runes. I will add my own magic to yours. Seraph closed her eyes, concentrating. She felt the familiar warmth of her inner fire, the power of the phoenix within her. As she channeled her energy into the runes, they began to glow brighter, the stone vibrating with the force of their combined magic, but the Naga were closing in. Seraph could hear their hisses, feel the ground tremble with their approach. She poured more of her power into the stone, feeling the strain as the portal began to awaken. Suddenly, the air was filled with a blinding light. The runes pulsed with energy, and the stone split open, revealing a swirling vortex of light and color. The portal was open. Hurry! Leora urged, tugging on Seraph's arm. We have to go now. But as they turned to flee through the portal, a massive Naga appeared, blocking their path. It was larger than the others, its scales dark as night and its eyes burning with malice. Seraph's flames surged, but she knew this battle would be fierce. The Naga lunged at them, and Seraph met it head-on, her body enveloped in flames. She fought with everything she had, her power blazing as she struck blow after blow. But the Naga was strong, and it was all she could do to hold her ground. Leora darted around them, her magic weaving protective spells to shield Seraph. We can't hold it off forever, she cried. You must transform. Seraph hesitated. She had never fully unleashed her phoenix form. It was a power she feared, a force that could consume her if she wasn't careful. But there was no other choice. She closed her eyes and let go, surrendering to the flames within. Her body erupted in a torrent of fire, her form shifting and growing. Wings of flame unfurled from her back, and her entire being was consumed by the brilliant light of the phoenix. She let out a fierce cry, the sound reverberating through the forest. The Naga recoiled, momentarily stunned by the sheer power of her transformation. Seraph seized the opportunity, launching herself at the creature with the full force of her phoenix form. The flames burned hotter than ever, searing the Naga's flesh and driving it back. With one final, powerful strike, Seraph sent the Naga crashing to the ground. It lay motionless, its scales charred and its eyes dimmed. She turned to Leora, who stared at her in awe. Now, Leora said, her voice filled with urgency. We must go. Together, they flew through the portal, the swirling vortex closing behind them. The forest, the Naga, and the cursed land vanished in an instant, replaced by a tranquil meadow bathed in golden sunlight. Seraph landed gently, her flames dimming as she returned to her human form. Leora fluttered beside her, a smile of relief on her face. We did it, Seraph said, her voice tinged with exhaustion. Yes, Leora agreed. And thanks to you, we are free. Seraph looked around, taking in the peaceful scene. She felt a sense of accomplishment and a renewed understanding of her power. She had faced incredible odds and emerged victorious, but more importantly, she had found an ally in Leora. As they walked through the meadow, Leora laughed with glee as she chased after butterflies and smelled the flowers. Seraph smiled at her antics, following a good distance behind and hoping for the best.